Alright, what's up, y'all? So, I wanted to holler at y'all for a quick second. So, anybody that knows me knows that there are two things I have struggled with majorly in the garden. One of them is bulbing onions, and the other one is watermelons. So, this winter, I did a lot of studying on bulbing onions, and I was doing things completely wrong. So, this is for this is a video for people like me. Maybe you won't struggle as much as I did, for as long as I did, with bulbing onions. Ooh, I got some radishes that's ready. Anyway, that's not part of the onion video. So let me explain. I want to explain right quick about bulbing onions and why they're different than bunching onions, and why you might be having problems with them. Now, if this stuff don't apply to you, then I'm not talking to you. But if you know that this is things that you was doing wrong, or mistakenly doing wrong, then I'm talking to you. So when it comes to bulbing onions, what you need to know is there's two parts of the growing phase. So it has the leafy phase, or the vegetation phase. That's the phase when the onion is basically just focusing on putting out leaves. Because the more leaves it has, the more energy it can have for photosynthesis to put into the actual bulbs. Now, if you're growing from seed, you need a nice little amount of time for that vegetation process to happen. So don't take onion seeds and try to plant them in the spring and think you're gonna have enough time. You don't. Let me go further. Onions are day length, like they depend on the length of the day. Always get onions that are that correspond to the length of day you have. For instance, I'm in the south, so I need short day. If you're in the north, you're going to need long day. Now, how do you figure out where you are? And there's also a intermediate day that's in the middle, in between. It's not really a long day, not really a short day. What you can do is you can go online. Where I found mine was I went to Dixondale Farms. They specialize in onions. If you just Google that, it'll come up. And you can put in, I think it's your zip code or what have you, and it will tell you what day length you are. So I'm short day. If you try to grow a long day onion in a short day area, it will not work. You do not have enough daylight hours for that onion to produce that bulb. That onion needs a certain amount of hours of daylight to produce that bulb. Not necessarily sunlight shining on it, but daylight for it to produce that bulb. So if you try to grow a short day onion in a long day, you probably actually can. I'm pretty sure you, well, let me not say that. I don't know exactly what will happen, but I know for a fact you can't grow a long day onion in a short day, because I grew a variety. I did not even realize that they were determinate upon the length of day. So get the right onions for your area. Also, if you're going to start from seed, you need to start those seeds, I would say, at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. Because if you start those seeds in the spring, you're not going to have enough time. You're just not going to have enough time. Because what you want to happen is you want the onions to germinate. They're going to be little bitty spindly things, right? And you want to give them plenty of time to get a lot of the top growth, the green growth. You want them to get a lot of that. And then they'll have enough leaves and enough vegetation so that by the time spring comes, they'll sense that the daylight, the time of day, the length of day is correct, and they'll start their bulbing phase. And that's, you want to make sure, just like, that's why they sell sets at this time of year, because it's time for you to get your sets in the ground. The sets have enough vegetation on them to where you want to go ahead and get them in the ground, and then your day length will, because the days are going to lengthen for the summer. That's for everybody, but still in the north the days are longer than in the south, because of the way the sun, the degrees of the sun and all that. We're not gonna nerd out on that, but just know that your onions will sense that, and then they'll go into the bulbing phase. And then at that point, they need enough time with those long days, with those, that amount of sunlight during the day to produce bulbs. So this year, what I did was, once again, before I did all this research, I winter sowed onion seeds like an idiot. Now, some of them are bulbing onions. Some of them are not. I did red Creoles. Those are bulbing onions. Guess what? Sowed them at the wrong time. I still have some seeds left. I'm not going to sow those. I'm not going to sow any onion seeds until like middle of summer, end of fall. I mean, middle of summer to like the beginning of fall. That's when I'm going to sow seeds for onions again. But what I did do was I bought sets, because sets already have enough vegetation on them. I can get them in the ground now, and they can put a little bit more vegetation on, because our days aren't quite long enough. The sun usually sets in the summertime here at about 9 o'clock. And right now it's still setting. The days are longer. The sun was setting at 5. Now it's setting at like 5:30, 5:45. So they're lengthening. They're getting a little longer. But I bought sets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them. And I'm going to see if I can get this right this time. I'm going to plant some sets, get them in the ground, and see if I can actually get onion bulbs. Now, I did this before. I bought the sets too late, though. I did not get them in the ground in good enough time. Another thing you want to make sure you do is while they're in the vegetative state, you want to make sure you feed them. Feed them with a high nitrogen fertilizer. That way they can really put on those leaves. You want them to have really nice leaf growth. That way, when it's time for the bulbing time, they just do photosynthesis and create the bulbs. When it's a bulbing phase, you want to feed them with the fertilizer that it can still have nitrogen in it. That's fine, but you want it to have more phosphorus and potash. Yeah. So I'm gonna flip the camera around, and I'm gonna show y'all me planting these sets right quick. And y'all follow me and see if I can get bulbs this time. I got the information. Let's see, can I apply it? Alright, so these are my sets. I had to put them in a little water. I didn't want them to die. I forget what these are. They came from Walmart, y'all. They're not stellar. One of them is like a Vidalia. And Vidalia is just a place in Georgia. It's really a specific onion. I think it's a Grand X or something, yellow Grand X, something like that. But you can see it has decent roots. Now, I do have some carrots in here, but carrots didn't come up all over. So I'm not going to just sit up here and just like worry about that. So if that creates a bulb, I'm gonna space these out, y'all. I don't want to plant them too close together, because and when you plant your onions, don't just bury them. You kind of see them just kind of getting the roots covered. That's all you want to do, because you don't want that bulb to have to fight the ground as well. If it has to push the ground out of the way as well, it's gonna be working too hard, and you're not gonna get bulbs. But yeah, I decided, actually, you know what, I'm gonna move this over some. And the good thing about this is I will pull these and it doesn't matter if they lean over. They will seek the sun and straighten up. I will pull these carrots later in the season, and it'll make room for something else. So there you go. So I got 4 planted right there, and I'm just gonna kind of just like randomly plant these through the garden. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference as to where I plant them. A lot of these radishes are gonna come out later, so I think that planting these right here, and trust me when I say these onions will grow a nice little root system. So yeah, it's not rocket science, people. Just put them down in there. And if you can't get your onions in the ground fairly quickly, don't worry about it. Just put like a little bit of water, because I bought these onions like 3 days ago. Just put a little bit of water in a bucket. Now, you don't want to drown them, but just put a little bit of water in a bucket. Put them in a bucket, and like, let me show y'all. Let me try to show y'all the good one. Y'all see the whiter roots? These onions didn't have that when I bought them. So onions will start to get those roots really quickly. Let me see here. This ain't the most ideal spot. This dirt here is kind of suspect. You do want to get good soil contact with the roots. This is a really crappy spot. Okay, now we got some soil. Before I wasn't getting nothing but pine straw and y'all know what I'm talking about? It's kind of annoying when you can't. Alright. So I got that one in there. And I'll be honest, it's easier when you're planting onions on a row. It's a lot easier than, kind of roguely planting them the way I plant. My gardening style is not for everybody. Let's put it that way. If you have OCD, my planting style is not for you. At all. You will not make it. I'm going to sneak 2 in here. And I think I am going to try to maybe have me a dedicated row, maybe over there in the new bed for onions. Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably just do 2 rows of onions over there, or maybe onions all the way around the edge or something. I don't know. But these onions are going pretty quick, and I'm just like randomly sticking them places. Now these might not get the best sunlight. This is also an experiment as to, do they really need complete and full sun? That's another question I'm asking myself. But keep in mind, these sugar snap peas will come out of here just as soon as this is a horrible spot too. Anyway, the sugar snap peas will come out of here as soon as it warms up, because they don't like the heat, and they're not gonna tolerate this heat like this. So it's not a big deal that I have sugar snaps here. Later on they will get sunlight, but we'll just see. We just, I'm the queen of experiment. I got a biology degree, so that's what I spent my time doing in school, is experimenting. So, like I said, I'm just kind of roguely sticking onions in different places. And like I said, a lot of these sugar snaps and different stuff is going to come out. Now, some of these onions are tiny, tiny, tiny. I'm not expecting much of a bulb out of them, like some of this little bitty stuff. But you can at least get tops out of it, I'm assuming. But some of the bigger ones I'm expecting to have nice sized bulbs out of, hopefully. Hopefully. It's cold. My fingers are turning to ice. I can barely feel them. Alright, let's just throw that to the side. But if it's better out here than it was with all the rain and so, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all probably couldn't see Shack Squad. Ugh. Filming while doing. It's not always the best idea in the world. But y'all can kind of see how I'm doing. I'm just barely, not even really bearing them. And I'm kind of just walking around finding spots. Sandy! My little black mamba. Sandy girl, are you sunbathing? She's black, so she loves to sunbathe. She gets warmer than everybody else. So she loves to just sit out here and just bask in the sun. Is it warm? Huh, baby? Y'all probably didn't see that. She was like, Sandy's a riot. She's a riot. Let me see. Is there any other place up here? If I look, there's a hole right here. I gotta put a box there to access the clean out. I'm gonna stick one right here. You know, I might stick a few in here because this pak choi is going to come out very, very soon. The pak choi is going to come out. So, yeah, I might stick. And see, you can think about that when you're doing this. You can kind of stick onions in a few places when you know that, like for instance, when this pak choi, after it gets through bolting, and that's a tiny, tiny one. When it gets through bolting, I will most definitely pull that. So, you know, it'll be more space for the onions. Let's see here. I planted almost a whole. I bought two thingies of sets. So I've planted almost all of one. The other one, I'll just figure out where I want to put it. Like I said, I may put it in that new bed. And this is kind of down a little bit. But I know the soil under here is great. Yeah. Slugs in here. I don't know. I'm going to hold off on these just a little bit. So I figure out where I want to put the rest of them. I'm just going to put just a touch of water in there so that the roots have some water to be in. Well, to drink. And that'll, I'm not saying do that indefinitely, but it'll help keep them. Like I said, I bought these like 3 or 4 days ago and they're fine. They were really dry at the store though, because they had just been sitting there and sitting there. But anyhow, I'll keep you guys up to date on the onions. That's the onion video, so I'll let y'all know how it comes along and how everything does. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.